Miller, and I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator in Basking Ridge, New Jersey, and I go live every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time to share with you some things that I'm working on in my studio or specials that are happening, things like that. So today, actually, I am making my Hanukkah cards. Thank goodness Hanukkah lasts for 8 days and nights. Tonight is the fourth night, and so tomorrow is the fourth day. So that means that I have a few days left in order to get these in the mail and get them delivered. So I am making those cards. I had a bunch of help from my husband this morning, but I figured let me show you what I'm making. And if it's already too late for this year, that's okay. You can use it for next year, or you can just use the card as inspiration because it's very easy to adapt to any occasion. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right, pop over here. Okay, so we're going to be using the Celebrate the Miracle set. This is the Hanukkah set that Stampin' Up developed last year, and it's got all the basic elements that you need for Hanukkah. So it is great to have, and lots of variations. I tend to make the same card. I make most of my cards in bulk. For this, I'll be making at least 40, and I'm halfway there. So anyway, this set is great for years to come. Okay, and it can be found on the online exclusives list all year round. And then the other set that I'm using, I'm not actually using the stamps, but I'm using the arches, and these are the everyday arch dies. I'll show you, these are the ones missing are the ones that we're using, and I'll show you that as we get to them. But that is what we're working with. So let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing I did, this is a fun fold, okay? So watch what we do. So first thing is I've got a piece of Night of Navy, and it is 6 inches by 4 1/4 inches, and I've scored it at 3 inches. So very simply, I'm folding that in half, and on the inside, I am going to put a panel that fits nicely in there. No, wrong one. It's right here somewhere. I've got a million pieces of paper right in front of me. Where did I put it? It's right here. Okay. Let's see. So this is the one that goes here. So it's just a 1/4 inch smaller on each of the edges. All the measurements can be found in the description of the video. And I'm going to use, I love this sentiment. It says, sending love and light. So whether you're using this for Hanukkah, or you can even use this particular sentiment for, for a lot of different things. So anyway, stamping, sending love and light right into the center. I like to always stamp before I glue if I can, because if I make a mistake, I can always flip it over. But I didn't make a mistake this time, which is great. And I'm going to take my regular Stampin' Seal, and I'm going to get it on the inside of the card. Now, if you are any of my Jewish friends and family, you're watching me make your card, and this is why you haven't received it yet. But it's a spoiler. But anyway, so that is the base of our card. So I'm just going to set that. Actually, before I do that, let me go ahead and put this beautiful floral piece on the front. Well, let's talk about this for 1 second. This paper is called True Blue Floral, something like that, but it is the product of the month. So the product of the month is one that if you spend $75, you can add the product for just $5, and it is a pack of 12 by 12 designer series paper with 12 beautiful different designs. This one in particular is done with Balmy Blue and Night of Navy, and all the different designs are perfect for, well, in my case, for Hanukkah cards, because I like to make my Hanukkah cards blue and white, if I can, and a little silver. So, but even, if it's a floral, that's okay too. But this can be used for so many different things, but I couldn't wait to use it because I got it for just the $5 with my order. So anybody can get that. You can limit one per person. So It's not like I can order it for you. You'd have to order it yourself, but it is definitely worth $5 for sure if you're placing an order anyway. So anyway, that is where this designer series paper came from. Super pretty. Okay, so that is our card base. So now I'm going to take that other piece of basic white cardstock that I showed you before, and I'm going to use the um, everyday arches, and that was cut out, and I ended up with this. And now we're going to do some two-step stamping. Now, some of Stampin' Up's stamp sets are considered two-step, meaning that in order to get the beautiful menorah that we're going to make, we can use 3 different colors for it, and the stamps are designed so that they can perfectly meld with each other. So the first thing I'm stamping is my menorah, and I did that with smoky slate. I like a silver menorah, and I don't like to emboss all that often. I could have embossed it in silver, but I like the way the smoky slate looks like silver. So that's where that came from. Next up is I'm going to put our candles. Now this menorah gets all 8 candles plus the one that goes up in the middle, which is the shamash. There's always one candle that's higher than all the others, and that is the helper candle. That's what shamash means, and it lights the other candles. So here we have all of our candles. I'm doing them all at once. If I wanted to, I could have used some water-based markers and just done a few of them, but look how easy that was to line up. I just lined them up right over the menorah. Okay, and I used Balmy Blue for that, just so that you know, because I wanted to make sure that it went with our designer series paper that we just laid down. And then, of course, we need our flames. And whenever I do flames, I use crushed curry. To me, that is just the right yellow. Any yellow probably would work, but for me, that one works the best. I'm moving this down because I can't see. I need to be able to see through the stamp so that I can lay it down. And there you go. You can see that I lined it up properly to get one little flame on top of each little candle. And that is what is meant by two-step stamping, in this case 3-step, because we used 1, 2, and then 3. So there you go. A little lesson on two-step stamping. Okay, so now we've got that beautiful focal point for our card. Definitely what you want the person to see when they open it. And so now I'm going to take some Night of Navy, and I'm going to use yet another of the Everyday Arches, and we're going to cut that out, and we end up with this. Thank you to my husband Scott, who cut out 40 of each of these for me today so that I can get these done hopefully tonight after my classes. And I'm just layering it. And that's what I love about the Everyday Arches. Number one, it's something a little bit different, right? And it just allows the focal point to really pop by doing that. So next, I want to put this on top here, but this looked a little boring to me. When I tried to put it down, it just was a little too plain. And so I actually agonized over this for quite some time. That happens to me a lot when I'm trying to design a card. I'll hit a wall and I just can't figure out what's wrong. So this time I decided what was wrong is that it needed a little bit of something to make it a little more interesting on the base. So what I did was I cut these thin 1/4-inch strips of Night of Navy, and I'm going to put them across. Okay, so I'm going to put 2, and you know what? I'm not worrying about evenly spacing them. Nobody's really going to notice, but again, it just was enough of something to make it so that I could see and made it just a little more interesting to the eye. So you can see I'm laying these down here. What's the nice part about using the wet adhesive is that I can kind of try to get them straight. I can try. I don't always get it, but now you can see when I lay this down, it just gives a little bit more interest to it. That's how I felt. So the trick, though, for this card is that we want to make sure that it still fits in the envelope. So what I did was I pulled out a ruler, and actually I have one down here, but I think this might be easier to see. And I put the base of the card over here, and that goes to 3 inches because when folded, that's what it came to. And then I'm going to put some adhesive just at the bottom here, and I'm going to center it here, and then I want to make sure that I get it to be no larger than 5.5 inches, because otherwise it will not fit in the envelope. Okay, and to be honest, I end up eyeballing it after I do the first one or two. I kind of get a sense of where it needs to go, but I do use the ruler for the first ones. Now, if you want, you can go in and put a little bit more adhesive, maybe up here. I'll show you how I might do that. See how it's bulging a little bit? I might just squirt in a little adhesive right there. And seeping out a little bit, I'll wipe that off. I guess I'm going to use my finger. Look at that. Magical, right? Fingers are good for something, right? I have a piece of paper over here, and I'm just going to squish that off. This is why I don't use wet glue a lot of times, because I don't like to get messy. But anyway, so here's our card now. Okay, so as you can see, now it opens. Oops, sorry, you can see it here. You can open it. And then I looked at it and I said, still not quite right. It needs to have that sentiment. Where can I put a sentiment on the front of this card? Let's move this so we can see what we're doing. So I went through a lot of different iterations, and I ended up taking a piece of Balmy Blue cardstock and die cutting this banner, and this is from the Stylish Shapes dies, so I'm going to get a stitch banner out of it, and that banner is, dun dun dun, I have it here. Well, I'm going to take out one of my samples that I did when I was practicing, and here we go. I'm going to just pull this out, and I stamped Happy Hanukkah on it. I did it twice, so I stamped Hanukkah. What's nice about this stamp set is that it has different fonts, and I like to mix fonts when I can. So we've got the Hanukkah in script, and then we also have the Happy, and I couldn't really line these up on the same block. It was taking up too much space, just the photopolymer part of it. So I stamped them separately, and then I put some dimensionals on the back, and then laid it across. And now I felt like I had a card. I had a winner. So this is my Hanukkah card that I'm doing this year. But as you can see, you can change this up for anything. You just need to decide what your focal point is and then build around it with the correct colors, the correct sentiment. But it makes for a pretty card, and it stands up all by itself, and it looks really nice on the shelf. And I would normally put bling on it, but I couldn't figure out how or where I would put the bling. So I decided less is more, and so therefore it has no bling. So anyway, I'd love to hear your comments on this card and this little sketch, and on about the product of the month. Have you gotten it? I know a lot of people have placed their orders and received their designer series paper. So if you've gotten it, I'd love to hear what your thoughts are about it. And besides that, thank you so much for joining me. And I'll be back next week with another project. We'll see what I'll be working on at that point. So hopefully these will be long gone out the door, along with all my Christmas cards too, and all those gifts too. So anyway, have a happy week, and I will see you the next time. Bye.